Welcome to What Would ChatGPT Do? Training students to learn with AI without cheating. Hello, I'm Jean Samuel. I'm an HLC advisor. This presentation was created with the aid of ChatGPT from OpenAI, Gemini from Google, and Claude from Anthropic. In part 2, I plan to talk about practical strategies in action, challenges and concerns, implementation without becoming overwhelmed, making AI logs contribute to learning process, talk about the guide-style conference paper, and then questions and answers. Practical strategies in action. Let's start with 4 ethical AI use cases in HyFlex. Rehearse, don't replace, AI as character or confidant, collaborative fact-finding games, AI logs, the transparency tool. The key takeaway here is use AI to enhance preparation, not replace participation. Students can use AI as a rehearsal partner. This boosts confidence, especially for students who struggle with spontaneous speaking or need more time to process. AI can help students clarify their thoughts before posting. Students might ask the AI to challenge their assumptions, offer counterpoints, or explain complex ideas into simpler terms. This leads to richer, more thoughtful contributions. One of the biggest strengths of this method is the cross-modal consistency. The same preparation strategies apply whether students are in the classroom or on Zoom, or engaging via a discussion board. This kind of uniformity strengthens course design and equity. AI as a character or confidant. Dynamic inquiry-driven interaction versus surface-level use. AI interviewed as a historical figure encourages critical thinking, digital literacy, and source evaluation. Peers, then evaluating or challenging the interpretations, open up the room for dialogue and different perspectives. AI helps students access perspectives, but students must contextualize and critique what they find. Let's talk about collaborative fact-finding games in the multimodal environment. We might use breakout rooms. Teams can get ChatGPT or their favorite tool and get facts to verify using credible sources. We can use discussion boards, asynchronous version where the students will post AI claims and peer responses. The hybrid engagement, we might have the online students join the synchronous breakouts via video. For example, you might have an AI Mythbusters weekly challenges where students must debunk in teams or confirm AI-generated claims. I introduced AI logs, the transparency tool, in part 1. Transparency logs are the reflective practice where students document how they used AI during their assignment. What prompts did they try, how they revised the output, and what did they reject entirely. It encourages critical thinking and ethical awareness. There will be multi-format submissions, so maybe they will write the reflections or use voice recordings or videos. Students might share their logs in small groups across modalities. I recommend that you scale the requirements, starting off from basic documentation to more sophisticated reflection. If you saw part 1, you saw this slide already. It's a sample AI log template. We will ask the student to give the assignment name. They will answer what they asked, what specific prompts they used, a summary of the responses that were provided by AI, what sources were consulted, critical thinking applied, about the topic and about the use of AI, what did they learn, and what would they do differently, what is their reflection for improvement. I'm a fan of using AI to simulate humans or students and gather the information from that experience. But say you don't have access to AI or you don't want to for some reason, you certainly can start the experience by working in pairs. One student asks the other about how they might use AI for a current project, and the listener creates a mock AI entry, and then they switch roles. Basically, in this case, it's humans impersonating or simulating the AI. Challenges and concerns. I have a chart included in the guide or the conference paper that talks about each of these groups. So for skill atrophy risks, the problem is that students may become dependent on AI for basic thinking. The reality is some evidence of decreased writing fluency with over-reliance. The HyFlex response to this is to use AI logs to track when students are thinking with versus outsourcing to AI. Assessment validity. The problem is, how do we know what students actually know? The reality is traditional assessments may no longer measure the relevant skills. HyFlex response is to process, focus, assessment through logs, peer interactions, and live demonstrations. One more time, it's process-focused assessment. Equity and access issues. The problem is not all students have equal access to AI tools. The reality is it creates a potential for increased academic inequity. The HyFlex response is to provide multiple pathways, ensure that AI use is optional, not required. And as I said earlier, you could simulate that experience using pairs of people if you wanted to. Faculty time and training burden. The problem. Teachers need to learn the AI tools and develop new pedagogies. The reality is they're already overwhelmed. They're resistant to taking on something with additional complexity. The HyFlex response to this is to leverage the existing flexible design skills, start small with pilot activities, and finally institutional policy lag. The problem is that academic integrity policies really haven't caught up. The reality is there are mixed messages confusing students and faculty. The HyFlex response is document transparent practices to inform policy development. I threw this slide in, although it's more about professional development. You might do a gallery walk or a concerns carousel where you tape up some paper to the wall or something like that, and people put sticky notes, walk around the room, and add things to the different boards. You might have concerns or topics such as skill atrophy risks, assessment validity, equity and access, faculty time and training burden, institutional policy lag. Small groups rotate and add solutions and responses to each concern as they walk around the room. How do we implement without getting overwhelmed? What are some ways that we can lessen the implementation burden? What strategies can we use? Phase 1 might be to pilot one activity, week 1 and 2. Choose one of 4 strategies, implement with a single assignment, and use a simple AI log template. Phase 2, students lead the expansion. Then that would be weeks 3 and 4. And they start sharing their AI experiences, and they peer teach, reducing the burden for the teacher. And they identify what works in our context. Phase 3 is systematic integration, ongoing. Build AI reflection into existing assignments, use HyFlex infrastructure for documentation, and refine based on the student feedback. For example, weekly AI log quick checks, peer review integration, and exit ticket reflections. During the weekly AI log quick checks, you'll skim for red flags, total AI dependence, identify any exemplars for sharing, and note common misconceptions. Peer review integration. Students evaluate each other's AI use. Maybe they share findings in class from each other or group or pair. This reduces your grading burden while building community. Cross-modal peer connections are also something that you can do in your HyFlex settings. I'm a fan of the exit ticket. So you could have exit ticket reflections. How did AI help or hinder your learning today? Do a quick pulse of AI student experiences, and this informs your next class adjustments. Let's take a look at summative assessment adaptations, the portfolio approach, and the live demonstration requirements. The portfolio approach helps us assess not only what students produce, but how they arrive there. Over time, students collect AI logs, drafts, and reflections, and that gives us a window into their thinking. By curating their strongest examples and annotating what they learned, students can show growth, not just outcomes. It promotes academic integrity because we can trace decisions and revisions. You can tailor portfolios to include screenshots, prompt iterations, and even revise work based on peer or AI feedback. Live demonstrations allow students to explain their process, not just turn in a product. In real time, students walk us through how they used AI, what they learned, what decisions they made. It's a natural deterrent for over-reliance because it's hard to fake genuine understanding live. It works well across HyFlex. Students can present in person or online, but the interaction is synchronous. These demos can be brief, maybe 3 to 5 minutes, and paired with simple rubrics for consistency. Making AI logs contribute to learning. Looking beyond the documentation, AI logs are learning tools, good for metacognitive development, critical evaluation skills, and reflective practice. Students recognize their thinking patterns in metacognitive development. They identify the knowledge gaps that AI helps reveal, and they develop self-regulation strategies. Critical evaluation skills that they develop by practicing assessing source reliability, learning to spot AI hallucinations and biases, and building information literacy for the AI age. Reflective practices are connecting AI to learning objectives, identify the effective AI collaboration strategies, and plans to improve for future AI interactions. AI only gets better over time, and the more you play with it, the better you get as well. Now that you've listened to the second part of this conversation, we're going to talk about the QA and next steps. Thinking back, how now are you likely to implement AI transparency strategies? What is your biggest remaining concern now? And what resource would you find most helpful? And once again, thank you for attending this presentation. What would ChatGPT do? Training students to learn with AI without cheating. Again, there's a handbook style conference paper, and I hope you find it useful.